Wisconsin Broadcasters Association Hall of Famer Bob Berry ruled Milwaukee's airwaves in the 60s and 70s. He spoke with countless musicians and celebrities over the years. Bob collected remarkable recordings of these encounters, which he's now sharing with the public. Here's Bob.
All right, grab your pearls, straighten your bow ties, get ready for a conversation as dazzling as a Broadway marquee. Today we welcome a legend, an actress, a singer, a style icon, and the undisputed queen of panel shows. You've seen her on the silver screen, you've watched her on What's My Line, and saw her charm contestants on To Tell the Truth.
I never know why you don't know how to tell the truth.
And you may have even caught her live on stage, maybe at the Melody Top in Milwaukee. Now enjoy a few minutes in the world of old Hollywood, Broadway, and high society with Kitty Carlisle. And Kitty Carlisle is on the air with us. Good morning, Kitty.
Good morning.
She's appearing in Where's Charlie at the Melody Top starting June 17th through the 29th. And today is Friday the 13th, as you probably know, Kitty. I was wondering if you had any superstitions in the showbiz.
Well, yes, we all do, of course. I say I'm not superstitious, but I know I am. I mean, if I get up in the morning of an opening night and the elevator comes on time and the lights are on my side when I'm traveling through the traffic, I take all these things as good omens. I think we all do. And I don't whistle in the dressing room, but that's mostly for other people's sake.
Let's recap some of Kitty's wonderful career. She was, of course, a popular star panelist on To Tell the Truth. We've seen her many times on that program, and I guess you're going to be on again.
I'm going to be on again. Yes, we taped the first show for me Thursday a week ago in New York, and I hope to be on it from time to time as long as it's on.
Oh, that's great.
I love the show. It was great fun, and it was, I thought, one of the best shows on the air.
And, of course, her movie career included Here in My Heart with Bing Crosby and the classic comedy A Night at the Opera with the Marx Brothers. Any stories you can tell about those two movies?
Well, the Crosby movies I did when I was, first starting out, and I was overawed by Bing. We one day were talking about if you could pick a hit song. And he said, if I could pick a hit song before it comes out, I wouldn't be working in the movies. I'd be many times a millionaire. And we had a very pretty song in the first movie we did called Love in Bloom. And I said, well, I think this is a good song, and I hope that becomes my theme song, that people will recognize me when they hear it. It was quickly taken up by a famous American violinist. And now when people hear it, all they do is laugh. And it goes like this. Can it be the trees that fill the breeze with a rare and magic perfume? You know it isn't the trees, it's love in bloom. And that was Jack Benny's theme song.
That's right, sure. Bing Crosby seemed like such a serious man. We had him on the air shortly before he died, and he gave very serious answers to almost every question. Is that the way he was? Was he, what you said about him, too, sounded like he was a little bit on the serious side when you talked about, hit songs.
Well, he was like all the rest of us. He had a serious side, and he had a very gay and amusing side. I found him very workmanlike, I was awfully young, and he had already been married and had a family. I didn't really get to know him all that well. I knew the Marx Brothers better because, of course, I knew them later on. Harpo was a great friend of my husband, Moss Hart, and also of George Kaufman and Alexander Wolcott and all those great wits in New York. Also, we saw Groucho once in a while socially. But the main thing about making a night at the opera, which I think is important to say, particularly to young people who feel that all of that stuff was done ad lib and very much impromptu, it was not true. They took the body of the movie in vaudeville up and down the West Coast before they even hit the cameras. And they took great pains. They had first-rate writers, and all the bits of business were carefully worked out, and the dialogue was carefully pruned for jokes that didn't work and timing. And so that's why it became a classic.
Well, it sure looked like it was ad-lib, though, the way they did it.
That's why, because it was so carefully done.
Right. How were they off stage? Were they as funny?
Well, Harpo was a very interesting and amusing, but at the same time sort of solid citizen. He was married and had 4 children, 4 adopted children. He was funny, though, I suppose. You know, he did funny things even off stage. I remember once my husband had to receive the local minister who had come to make a call. And Morse was not terribly sure of himself with religious people. And so he said to Harpo, don't come in after the minister's been in the drawing room at least 15, 20 minutes. So Harpo came in naked to the waist with a towel around him and said, well, Morse, it's time to shave the cat. And the minister fled.
Besides singing Love in Bloom, Kitty popularized Cocktails for Two, June and January, Alone, and you could tell that she still has a very nice voice, and we'll be hearing that.
Well, not from what you heard this morning at 9 o'clock.
This time of the morning.
On the radio, no. I do sing quite well still. I'm going to be back at Singing with Beverly Sills in October for her farewell performance. I'm going to be doing my old part of Prince Orlovsky in Fledermaus at Lincoln Center.
Boy, that's great.
And I think that's going to be very interesting.
And you're also doing some work with the New York State Council on the Arts?
Yes, I'm chairman, and I must say that's a job that takes about 24 hours a day.
I believe it.
It's very, very taxing and very important because we have a budget of $31 million, and that's taxpayers' money, and I'm responsible for it, and a staff of about 85 people. And we fund everything that is nonprofit in the state of New York, and we do a great deal of good.
Well, it's nice to have a responsible person on that board.
You'd have to, you know. I'm appointed by the governor, as are the other 20 members of the board, and we really take it very seriously. And it really is extraordinary how much you can do with very little money.
Did you ever come close to getting married again?
No, I never found anybody. Well, you know, Edna Ferber once said, I said to her one day, Edna, why did you never get married? She said, well, there have been men who wanted to marry me, and there have been men whom I wanted to marry. But they were never the same fella.
Do you have any children?
I have 2 marvelous children. My daughter just graduated from medical school last week.
Terrific.
And she's going to be an intern at Cornell, New York Hospital. And my son Chris writes beautiful songs, one of which I sang at the White House last spring when I entertained for Mrs. Carter's annual luncheon for the ladies of the Senate. And they're divine, and I tell you, I have the best relationship that any mother could have with her children. They think I'm slightly eccentric, and that gives me a lot of leeway.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you in Where's Charlie at the Melody
It's a
Top.
charming play with beautiful music, and it's going to be adorable. The costumes are ravishing, and the music is so, everybody knows it, but it's so catchy, and it's so sort of toe-tapping and hummable, and I've got a darling part, and the cast is good, and so I'm looking forward to it.
What are some of the songs?
What?
Give us a
Once
hint.
in Love with Amy.
Right.
Once in Love with Amy. You know that one.
Always
and then,
in love.
my darling, I've wanted to call you my darling. That's a lovely one.
Yes.
And then there's the marching Ashmolean song, and then there's Horseless Carriages. Oh, it's a wonderful score.
Sounds great.
It really is one of the best.
Thank you very much for talking with us this early in the morning, and we'll see you in Where's Charlie at the Melody Top
And
starting
I'll
June
be in
7th.
better voice.
Okay, thanks, Kitty. You're
Goodbye.
great. Bye.
Bob Berry, WOKY 9092.
Thank you for listening to Bob Berry's Unearthed Interviews. Be sure to subscribe and rate our podcast wherever you find your podcasts. You can find all our episodes at WisconsinBroadcastersMuseum.org. Check out Bob Berry's book, Rock and Roll Radio Milwaukee. Book sale proceeds support Donate Life Wisconsin. Special thanks to Wisconsin Historical Society and for financial support from WBA Hall of Famer Terry Vaughn.